Santa Jaws is coming to town. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
That was too easy.
There was no tagline for this movie, but I kept seeing stuff popping up with that, so I just used it.
I love it.
Ho, 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 you son of a fish.
Welcome to episode 66 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
I'm Katie.
And this week we watched 2018's absolute masterpiece, Santa Jaws. Before we
Wait,
get
is this
what?
66? Really? Wow.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I watched Elves.
Oh my god, I was going to, but I ran out of time today.
It's about 100% worse than The Elf.
How?
It's
That makes sense.
literally, not even for the podcast, it might be like at least top 3 worst movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
Was it just the elf playing like in
Well,
duplicate?
I think there's like it's so essentially from what I could fucking comprehend from this nonsense movie, it's like people are possessed by elves. Like I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing like an elf actually attack anybody other than once.
I saw in the trailer for it, they had this like part where they showed like the people who are possessed and they had these like weird smiles, and I was like, oh, that might be kind of creepy cool, but
It's terrible.
Did
okay.
any of them get put on a shelf?
No.
Did any of them shit through a door?
It that does happen a lot.
Yeah, well, as it does with the elf on the shelf.
It like continues the tradition of the series having the absolute most garbage CGI I've ever seen, though.
Jeez.
So kudos
Bravo.
to them. All right. So let's talk about something good.
Yes.
So I had already said, I think a couple episodes now as we were leading up to it, that I loved it. What did you guys think of Santa Jaws?
They rolled. A plus.
What about you,
Yes.
Katie?
I loved it. I have to say, I don't know. I did like it. I don't know if there's like a difference between like with the mindset of like, oh, I already knew that you really liked it and I had wanted to see it so bad that like it would have been good no matter what, just because I had this anticipation of it. I mean, I think I tend to go the opposite of it. But I went in expecting to like it, and I did really like it. Yeah. I don't want to say too much because I want to like, I don't want to give away anything
Yeah,
for
yeah,
later.
I got
But
Yeah.
I will say the middle section dragged a little bit for me, but when this movie works, it really works and is so stupid and ridiculous in all of the right ways.
I have to say that the opening was like pretty
Oh
A
my
plus
God.
opening in my book, if ever there was one.
It throws you straight in, and it's just like, oh my god, am I watching the right thing right now? What?
I think it was like it's cast pretty great for if you look at it as like this is what a Hallmark Channel horror movie would be like.
Yes.
Yes.
Like the family is perfect Hallmark movie casting, and then like it's just awesome. When you get towards again not to like spoil it till we get to it, but like when they start updating the shark,
Yes.
it's fucking genius.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in this movie that I think, like, okay, the whole premise of it, like, number one, completely ridiculous, obviously. It's called Santa Jaws. But they did so many things in the movie that I thought were so smart. Like, for instance, like the additions to it, and like the fact that like the shark is lured by things that are like, I don't know. I just thought it was like, in this universe where this idea is like super crazy, there was a lot of really smart things that happened in it, which is 100% something I have never said on this before, and probably will not really say in the future. That makes sense.
I appreciate how frequently they used candy canes,
Yes.
like for everything, as linchpins, all kinds of shit.
It's pretty awesome. All of like the like Christmas kind of tie-ins or whatever to the plot is pretty good. Hold on one second. Alright, so this movie was directed by Misty Talley, who has also directed Zombie Shark, Ozark Sharks, and Mississippi River Sharks. So
I need it. I need all of it.
100% now my new favorite director. All of them are on that Hoopla app, so I am fully on board for doing the other 3 on this podcast as soon as possible.
Yes. And also her short film Soup's On.
Yes. She's got like a pretty fucking massive like career in just editing alone. Like she had a pretty huge list of movies she just worked on as an editor as well.
I just saw the cover. This is not her movie, but I just saw the cover for Trailer Park Shark, and I didn't realize Tara Reid is like. Why is she like killer shark movie person all of a sudden?
Who, Tara
Like,
Reid?
Why not?
Yeah.
Because she was in Sharknado.
I know, but like, how does
She's
that?
the shark expert.
Well,
Who do you trust to kill a shark over Tara Reid? No one.
not really anyone in
Ian
this movie,
Ziering.
to be honest.
What is Shark Island? Is that the one you were just talking about?
No, that was I was.
Oh no,
talking
you were
about
talking about Trailer Park.
Trailer
Yeah, that's right.
Park
Never mind.
Shark.
I was...
Although now I'm just like clicking through all of these shark like.
What was the thing? Is like when Kit and I first started doing this, like we kept talking about shark movies, and I was like, we have to like parse these out because we will just go on a string of like 80 episodes in a row.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like we should do like a Shark Month.
When is Shark Week?
Year. Let's do Shark Year all next year.
I literally
Oh my God.
thought about that, and I was like, I bet we could. I bet we could find
Is it-
52 shark movies.
Easily.
I'm sure we could. Shark Week is July. Shark Week happens in July.
Oh, there we go.
Wait, this is July 28th through August 4th. So,
So in July, we're gonna do all shark movies, except we're definitely gonna forget by then, and probably not.
Yes, someone remind us. Someone set a reminder.
Yes, put in your phone now. Someone that's not
Okay.
us.
someone that is not us.
This movie was written by Jake Kiernan, and then stars Reed Miller as Cody, Courtney Lauren Cummings as Jenna, Jim Clock as Peter. That's like the top 3. All right, so this movie opens on somebody either dressed up as Santa or an actual evil Santa.
It's Evil Santa, bro.
I mean, I figured, but like, still, holding someone like this woman captive on like a boat dock, and you pretty much get immediately thrown into this fucking scene of this woman getting rescued by somebody from an evil Santa. Like they kind of fight for a minute, and this dude knocks Santa into the water, who immediately gets eaten by Santa Jaws.
One of my favorite. So like while this is happening, everything that they're saying is like Christmas puns.
Is it the no sugar cookies one?
Just like, no, the one that I wrote was, "You gonna shoot me like a naughty little boy or fight me like a man?" And then he like takes off his Santa coat and they start like fist fighting, and Santa has like Feliz Navidad tattooed on his like arms.
Oh my
It's
god,
so
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And
then
oh, go ahead.
sorry, so there's this. So the 2 main characters in the comic are named Casey and Jenny, which parallels because like the main character's name is Cody,
Cody
and his
and
girl,
Jenna.
like Jenna, right? But there's like a part right before Casey gets punched in the face where he like kicks Santa in the balls, and you just hear like jingle bells, and I was like, that's it. This movie is a classic.
Immediately.
Yes.
I like the line, "No sugar cookies for you. You're going to eat words."
Oh, and then he also says, "See you in Jingle Hell," when he right before he
Yeah.
kicks Santa into the water.
That's some
So
baller shit right there. If I'm ever in a fight again, that's what I'm gonna say to somebody right before they beat the shit out of me.
please do.
So the Santa gets eaten by the shark, which then comes out of the water and has the Santa hat on its fin. This is a perfect fucking visual. And you cut out of that to Cody, who is the main character, who is drawing this Santa Jaws comic book in a comic book store. So like everything you just saw was like just scenes from the comic book.
Boo.
Well, I mean, wait till the sequel. You're also introduced to Steve, who is Cody's best friend, who wrote the comic book that Cody is drawing. They're like kind of bickering about how to end the comic book, and then you're also introduced to Clark, who is the owner of the comic book store they're in.
He is.
And the best.
No.
he's
I
he's
kept
pretty
thinking-
fucking funny.
I kept thinking that I recognized him, but I looked through his IMDb and there's like nothing, so I'm not really sure. Maybe he just has like one of those faces.
Yeah, he looks like familiar, but I had the same thing.
Oh, you know what? I think it's because he was in Christmas in Louisiana, and I've definitely seen that.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah. I'm gonna pretend like you didn't say that.
I assume that is a movie where the state of Louisiana attacks people during Christmas.
Yes.
Alright, perfect.
Yes. Hmm.
Ooh, what is the demonologist?
I don't know. I was just looking at that.
It's the sequel
yeah.
to Christmas in Louisiana.
I've
Yes.
definitely seen him. He's in like a bunch of TV shows. I've probably seen him at some point. Alright. Enough of that. So yeah, Cody and Steve are just kind of bickering, and they ask Clark to read the comic and like give him some advice about how they should end it. And you get some dialogue about how tomorrow is the first ever Big Easy Comics Christmas Eve party. During their bickering, or something like, I think Clark's just like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," and like Steve's like, "Well, I wrote it," and Cody's like, "Yep, the next Frank Miller over here," which made me laugh as a fucking comic book person. And you just cut to like Cody riding his bike back home, and he gets back to his house and is like spying on the new neighbor girl Jenna with his binoculars, which is totally not creepy.
Not
Yeah.
weird at all.
Yeah.
And then you're introduced to the rest of his family, and my absolute favorite line of the entire movie, when you're introduced to Mike and Georgia, and then who is his like uncle and aunt, and then his grandpa Pops, who's like, "Oh, Georgia, what do you do?" And she's like, "I'm a model for Snapstagram."
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's right. And he's like, "I've never heard of that," or something, and she says, "LOL." Like, this lady is like the epitome of like social media
She is
girl.
my favorite part of the whole movie, besides the shark.
She is pretty funny.
Like
Also, the uncle said they like brought up that the uncle went to Cornell, and so of course I was like, Cornell.
because of Andy.
Yeah.
Nerd. You're introduced to Josh, who is Cody's brother, and then his mom and dad, Peter and Carolyn. Carolyn or Caroline, I'm not sure which one. I'll probably say it both
Uh-oh.
ways.
I didn't know their names. I just kept reading mom and dad.
You just get like a kind of a bunch of back and forth between the family members. It just gives you like a little bit of backstory about them. Like, you know, Caroline is a Snapstagram model. Mike.
Georgia.
Oh yeah, Georgia. I'm never gonna get Snapstagram out of my head forever now. It's gonna be like burned into my memory. Cody gets a text while he's down there from Steve about the principal of his school calling his parents and that his mom's getting a call next. And his mom gets... Oh, yeah, he's busted. Essentially, Cody drew a comic book, or a little comic strip thing about the school's dress code, and it went viral in the school, and the principal was not having any part of it.
That's why you don't upload anything to Snapstagram.
Yeah,
That's right.
Dummy.
Although, to be fair, like, if he did it outside of school, it's not really any of the school's business, in my opinion, but whatever.
Also, it was really good.
Also, it was really good. Yeah, and he just, like, then goes on, like, a tirade about, like, school uniforms and stuff, which reminded me of Society, when he just was, like, I don't know, I just never thought that much into school uniforms.
And then they shunted.
Yeah, and then they, yep. They shut
The end.
Apparently,
Shut
well,
Johns.
like, the biggest problem, I guess, that they have is that his dad works for the school, so...
Oh, true. That's true.
So Cody gets grounded and now can't go to the Big Easy Christmas Eve party. I assume this movie does not take place in New Orleans. I don't know why that comic book shop is called that.
I couldn't really tell where it took place because it's like, obviously it's coastal, right? Because they're around boats in Marina, and they had those like I don't know, because like some people are wearing like sweaters and people are wearing like hoodies or whatever, but then Georgia like runs around in a bikini, so I'm
I was
like,
gonna say, like, I
don't really know what the weather is.
was
but...
baffled because everybody's in these big thick sweaters and shit throughout the movie, and she's just in the water in a bikini. Like,
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty much how California is. Like,
it's like 70 degrees and everybody's in a hoodie.
at all times of the year, there's like someone dressed in like a tank top and short shorts, but then there's like a lady
Ohio's
wearing
like that too, but it's because everyone in Ohio is crazy and they're just like, yeah, it's fucking 9 degrees. I can still wear my flip flops.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'll see people walking down the street. Literally, it'll be like a hoodie, shorts, and then like just like sandals and socks, but it's like covered in snow and like 4 degrees outside.
The fuck?
Sounds like the worst thing
they're
ever.
Crazy. So Cody's parents are heading to a restaurant, I guess they own, to shut it down for the year or the season or whatever. I guess not year, but for the season.
So, who was there?
Well,
Like, who's running it if they have to
assuming-
go?
I'm assuming it already is probably not functioning as a restaurant because they're doing like a big Christmas like charity
Christmas Eve
thing,
dinner, yeah.
to like give back to like the town or whatever. What the fuck happens next? Oh yeah, it's Cody is like out on his porch, and Mike, his uncle, comes out to smoke and gets caught by Cody, and they have this back and forth about Mike telling him that like he knows people in the art world in New York if he ever wants to come out and visit, and Cody says his mom would never allow that to happen. And Mike's just like, take it easy on your mom. Like, believe it or not, she had a punk rock phase too.
Yeah, like what?
So rebellious.
Yeah. Mike leaves his lighter, which Cody takes, which seems like nothing you need to pay attention to until really the end of the movie.
Yeah, I figured when it happened, I was like, I think this will probably come back.
Yeah.
Chekhov's stolen lighter.
Cody is like goes back up into his room and finds an early Christmas present, I think from his grandpa.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is this
Papa.
I kept calling
Yeah.
it Pops.
Papa.
Which is a fancy ass pin that looks incredibly uncomfortable to hold.
It's not ergonomic at all.
It seems like that would
No.
just really hurt the inside of your fingers. He takes out the pen and he starts like inking over this picture of Santa Jaws that he has while like muttering some super emo shit. All it was missing was like "I'm Not Okay" by My Chemical Romance playing.
With like posters on it, like yeah.
Would have made this movie a 11 out of 10 for me. He's just like saying some shit about. He's just like I don't know, like fuck. What he says something about like
He's basically like I'd be better off alone, and like nobody understands me and whatever.
Yeah, it pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, he's not
Basically, he's basically like, when I grow up and get married, I'm gonna live alone.
So you cut to the next day at like the boat docks where Santa Claus has come to life and gets caught up in some Christmas lights that are now wrapped around his tail.
I love it. I
It's
love how
fucking
she
genius.
just is like accessorizing the whole time. She's like, hat, don't mind if I do. Lights, very festive. I love it.
The lights come back in the best way
Oh, so
later.
They,
good.
oh my god. Yes, okay. let's-
I love like the design where like its eyes are Rudolph's nose, so they're just like lit
Yes.
up like Rudolph. It's just fucking awesome all the way around.
It just keeps getting better and better.
You cut to Pops, who I'm
Papa.
not calling him Papa.
Papa.
Papa!
This kid refers to him as Papa to everyone in the movie. You have to call him Papa.
I swear, like the first time he's like when he introduces himself to Georgia, he says Pops, but I could have heard it wrong.
This is my
Pepe.
Pepe.
It's like that it's like that episode of Family Feud all over again.
Oh, where's Mama? Mama?
Mama.
Um,
Pappy.
Pops wakes Cody up super early to take him on their annual Christmas Eve fishing trip, which Cody does not want to go
Sounds
to.
terrible.
Yeah,
No, I don't blame
fishing
him.
is the worst thing on earth.
Yeah.
Wait for Texas Boy Kit to chime in.
I hate fishing.
Alright, good.
I've grown up with it. It's awful.
It was like one of those things where, like, when I was a kid, I would like, I want to go fishing, and we'd go, and I'd be like 5 minutes in, I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, never mind. This sucks.
Start throwing rocks in the water and scaring all the fish away.
I
Yeah.
want to jump in and hang out with the fish.
Yeah.
They seem like they're living the life.
I just want to pet him.
So after Cody's kind of like, I don't want to go to this, Papa Pops offers to
Pepe.
sneak Cody to the Christmas Eve party at the comic book shop afterwards. It'll be their secret. You cut like them outside, kind of loading their car with their fishing gear, which Cody immediately trips over a lawn decoration, trying to like wave at Jenna across the street, being super slick. And then you cut to Cody and Pops fishing and kind of having this like back and forth about this new girl across the street. And he's giving him this like pep talk about, you know, try and talk to her again, like just be yourself, kind of typical adult
Nonsense.
yeah. And then Pops asks for his thermos of his patented eggnog. Which
This is like the
gross.
5th time he's brought up his eggnog that he makes.
I don't know why it makes it so much worse that it's in a thermos for me, but like,
Because now it's like thick egg milk in a metallic-y thermos, and it's probably not that cold, so...
I think it's worse than the thermos because, like, who knows what's actually in that thermos? You can't-
soup.
Yeah, it's just soup.
Well, then he asked him if he
Real
wants this...
thick, like French onion soup.
Yum,
Yeah,
I
you
love
want some of
French
this
onions.
nog?
He was like, do you want
Big
a
old
snort
chunks
of this?
onion.
Yeah, he asked if he wanted to snort.
Yeah. And I'm like, is it supposed... Like, I was wondering if the reason he kept, like, bringing up his homemade eggnog is because it's, like... You know, normally people spike it. put
I
some
mean,
Coke in
that's-
there.
I know, but,
put
like,
some rum in there.
People, that's how I assume people drink eggnog, because I feel like you have to be getting drunk to enjoy eggnog.
Got some Baileys in there.
It's just all
Roast beef in there.
Meat nog.
a little bit of turkey.
Mm.
I hate
Anyways.
it. He goes to pass Cody this thermos, and he accidentally drops in the water, and like Pops reaches down to grab the thermos out of the water and gets immediately eaten by Santa Jaws.
I felt so sad
I
when
love it.
when he got grabbed.
Every time like this shark pops out of the water and just drags somebody in, it's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting. Like none of the people that get murdered in that way, like none of them I expected to go out like that suddenly. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess Papa is gone now.
No, Papa.
Uh,
Yeah. I felt sad when he died. I have to say too, what?
You just wanted some of the eggnog.
I did, and now it's all in the harbor. Oh yeah, so before that he like drops the thermos of. You said that already.
Yeah.
So then at first I was like, ew, the eggnog going into the water looked so freaking gross. But that's like the first sign of your like holiday. Santa Claus was like, nom 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 nom, give me that.
Yeah, it eventually comes that like they realize that Santa Jaws is like attracted to Christmassy things.
Which is so great. I love it.
Essentially Cody like runs back home and like runs up to tell his parents about his poor papa. And obviously they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And don't believe him. And yeah, who? I just like that they're literally like, do you want us to go in there and wake him up to show that he's in there? And he's like, yes. And they're like, well, we're not doing that.
Yeah, right. The thing that really gets me,
Concerned.
the thing that gets me about this too is that the mom is like, how dare you lie to this family about your grandfather who loves you very much? And I was like, bitch, he's dead.
That's some
Oh my
straight
God.
up Hallmark dialogue, and I love it. I don't know. They ground Cody for another week and take his cell phone away from him.
Damn, harsh.
Yeah, like his mom says that like if he keeps acting up, they're gonna take his art supplies from him too.
That
Real
bitch.
punk rock.
Man,
Like Cody's just kind of pacing and talking to himself about like what he's gonna do.
I loved this scene because he's like eating popcorn
How was they just,
out of
like,
a stocking.
Snacking down out of a fucking stocking.
He's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. They don't believe me, but I gotta do something. And I was like, this would be me, right? This is if this situation was like me, if I was being Santa Jaws, like this is what I would be doing.
Like the like verb of Santa Jaws.
I hate to get Santa Jawsed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
No
feel
one
like it'd
wants
be kind of fun, festive at least.
I'm not gonna lie. I
in the
would be
office.
sad if it was like eating people that I cared about, but like the idea of seeing Santa Jaws is exciting to
What
me.
if like Santa Jaws just let you ride on top of her like Falcor, and you could just like take a bite out of the
Yeah.
fucking candy cane?
Corn?
Yeah.
That sounds like a dream.
I need a legitimate sequel to this where it's essentially just like Santa Jaws and Cody become best friends.
Like Free
Yes.
Willy.
What? They're delivering presents.
Santa Jaws just becomes like fucking Jabberjaw the cartoon.
Oh, God, yes.
I love
They
it.
start a
Gimme.
band. Santa and the Jaws.
Misty, get on this.
Yeah. We'll write it for you. We got it. I mean, we pretty much just did.
We already did, yeah.
Done.
Um,
Easy.
So Cody leaves a note to his parents. It's just like, I created this. I got to finish it, or something along those lines. And you cut back to the comic book store where Steve and Clark are talking about creating the most original comic ever. Literally, they're just like, Steve's just like, I want to write like the most original comic anyone's ever seen. Which is kind of like, isn't that what most people are trying to do?
No.
Fair enough. Cody goes running in to the store and tells him about Papa. Steve
That was
like
my favorite thing.
harasses him about Santa Claus not being real or some shit, and I can't remember exactly what, but they talk about another, I think, comic book they wrote called Evil Shed.
So Steve like is like Santa Claus isn't real, and then they like give the backstory, and this is where you find out that Santa Claus is a she, which we stan a queen, Santa Claus. About a backstory about how Santa Claus like got beaten up or something by the other sharks, so she ate evil Santa, and then she just got more and more powerful, and that's why she's like the biggest, most powerful shark ever. And then they reference like other stories, which is like an It reference that they do, and then they have like an Evil Dead reference also. So I don't really, yeah.
I just wrote down Evil Shed in all capital letters.
Yeah, that was one of their like parody comics or whatever.
Cody asks Clark for his comic back. Clark says he gave it to a regular, and they're like, "What the fuck, bro?" And he's just like, "Well, he's like, I'm outsourcing it to the people to get like help figure out your ending." He tells
This part.
God.
Sorry, this part grosses me out because like when he's like, "Oh yeah, I gave it to a regular," and they're like, "You like what?" And he's like, "Well, she's not a regular yet, but she will be." The way that he was like saying it to me kind of made it seem like he was like doing it to flirt with this person. Like he sees a lady and he's like, "Oh, here's this comic. Come to my comic store," and then it turns out to be Jenna, which like
who's
gross.
probably like
she's a child.
15.
Yeah.
most.
So. I mean, obviously this guy's
Clark's not the greatest of
No.
moral standing character.
No.
We do not stan a comic shop owner.
Unless it's the one here that gives me a discount, then hard stan.
Yeah.
So he gives their comic book to Jenna, who is the girl that lives across the street from Cody. Cody takes Steve out to like the dock to like show him that Santa Claus is real. You cut to the parents' restaurant where Peter and Georgia are making paper snowflakes, and Peter makes like the nerdiest one of all time.
Yeah, I wrote Science Talk Snowflake. I have no idea what he was
I don't
saying.
either. We're not smart.
No, we're not. But then she says, # Christmas spirit.
This is I do have Georgia is the best / Christmas spirit. This is when you get like you find out that like Peter and Caroline are making the Christmas dinner for like the community to like give back to them for supporting the restaurant and shit. At the docks with Cody and Steve, they find the thermos. Steve is still ambivalent to all of it, which I don't know why he wouldn't be. This is a movie where they call 911 later, and they're just like, my son's comic book came to life, and I'm just like, for real?
Oh my god, I was gonna say this like continues our trope about like 911 dispatchers. She's just basically like, there's a shark attacking people, and the lady's like, ma'am, this is for emergencies, and just like hangs up. And I'm like, now I'm like very worried that sometime I'm gonna have to call 911 and they're just gonna be like, haha, funny, and hang up on me.
Don't get attacked by like
a comic book,
paper mache like doll
Swans.
that attacks you or something.
I'll try, but they're out here, you know.
I guess California is it's like just
Wild.
them. Yeah.
I'm gonna call and be like, there's tarantulas having sex everywhere, help me. And they're gonna be like, ma'am.
It's California, we're used to it.
Is that a thing? That sounds awesome.
When I lived there,
Yes.
we had like a little jungle gym swing set thing in my backyard that my dad built. They got overrun with tarantulas.
Ugh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we had like a water fountain thing in the backyard that got taken over by a black widow. So like the backyard just never got used.
That's why Nathan stayed inside and watched horror movies.
Pretty well. I feel like I don't really feel like I watched a lot of stuff as a kid. Until I moved to Ohio. I don't remember really watching a lot of movies other than like if I went to my grandparents' house.
Ugh.
I just went out and hung out with spiders.
Gross.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
But yeah, I don't remember what episode it was, but I definitely talked about how I read this article that in San Francisco, tarantulas like come up to the surface to like find mates, and I freaked out and was like, I'm never going to San Francisco again, which is fine because it's like not that great anyways.
How dare you?
But like, what?
I like San Francisco.
For what is it?
I mean,
You can.
Amoeba Records. You got the.
Where is there one in San Francisco?
I'm pretty sure there's one in San Francisco.
The only one
Could
that
be.
I know of.
Well, there's two of them in
Oh.
California, so.
Okay, I'll have to look it up then, because I have been to the one that's like, I think it's near Hollywood, like in LA. LA is like where everything is. San Francisco's like,
Yeah, LA is also impossible to navigate, so.
yeah, I don't want to go there again.
Uh,
Anyways, this has gotten wildly off
Yeah.
course.
you cut to Mike and Georgia on their boat. Georgia is in her bikini and making Mike take pictures of her for her Instagram.
Snapstagram.
Yeah, her Snapstagram.
Her Snapstagram.
I desperately need to know the story about like the dog walking leotard incident.
That's a prequel. That's a whole prequel.
Yes.
I like it.
I don't know. I this is my first note where I'm like, it has to be cold outside because everybody else is decked out in like big thick ass sweaters, and Georgia's just like, I'm gonna go get in the water in this bikini.
Yeah, you know,
He's committed.
as you do.
Okay.
Essentially, like there's supposed to be a big boat parade on Christmas Day, so Mike's like trying to get the boat set up, and he goes to start it, and it stalls. So he goes out to like the edge of the boat and is looking at the propeller. And Georgia gets in like a floaty and is taking selfies in it. Like looks at one of the pictures and she's like, "Oh my god!" And you see like the fin with like the Santa hat in the background. And I can't remember what she says, but like
She said something like, "My pores look disgusting."
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Girl.
Mike finds a bunch of Christmas lights wrapped in the propeller and goes to like yank them out and is eaten by Santa Jaws.
R.I.P.
Yep. R.I.P. to a real one.
When he gets taken, he yells, and Georgia drops her phone in the water and exclaims, "Sleigh bells!" And you cut to Cody and Steve arriving at Jenna's house to get their comic book. Cody adjusts his backpack to look super cool before he knocks on the door. As you do.
Yeah, you know, gotta make sure your BP looks cool.
Yeah.
BP.
Looking fly.
Katie might remember this. Kid, little younger. Like, I remember when I was in like probably either middle school or like just entering high school, and like people were like at least a handful of kids at my school were starting to wear their backpacks on the front.
Yep.
And I was like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
I don't know that people in my school did that, but my school was like very, very small. So like, I don't.
Less of a chance of those front BPers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys were all cool instead of having the nerds with the front BPs.
Yeah, we were cool. Like, you know, just one strap over, one strap off, like laid back, chillaxing, you know, whatever.
I'm gonna get a backpack and start wearing it on the front, but pulled up as high as it'll go. So it's just like resting under my chin.
I appreciate that you went with front BP instead of front pack.
I love it.
I mean, it's a BP. Still BP. Just like how they say fanny pack, even though you see people wearing it on like their fucking chests.
Yeah,
Fan.
you gotta be wearing that on your BS. You know, your butt shelf, your fanny.
Just blowing right past that. Cody asks Jenna for the comic back. She says Clark is a creep and that she likes the comic. And she goes to get it, but it's not there, so they have to go to her dad's boat because everyone in this town owns a boat.
As one does.
You cut to Georgia running into the restaurant and telling Peter and Carolyn about the fin she saw and that Mike got taken by a shark. Got shark napped.
Much of a shark caper.
Carolyn immediately wants to call the police, and Peter says no, and has Georgia head home with Josh. They're going to go look for Mike. Jenna takes Steve and Cody to her dad's boat to get the comic, and like eventually she just like comes out, gives them the comic, and they start hearing Christmas bells in the distance. I forget, like somebody. Oh, I think like they're just like what's going on, and Jenna's just like, oh, you know, like in the comic book, bells on Shark Tales ring.
I think that's later, but that definitely does happen.
Well, I have it here, so what are you
Well,
gonna do about it?
Stop time traveling, Nathan.
I watched this movie like it was fucking just like a chopped up movie. It's just random scenes I'd skip to and then skip back and then go forward some more and jump back, and
that checks
We should
out.
do that.
Sounds like
We should do that.
You have a scene.
Well-
Well, good.
Never mind. Go ahead. I was gonna say she doesn't. I don't think she knows about Santa Jaws yet.
No, I don't think she does yet.
Okay.
Because I think like Steve and Cody are kind of like bickering about it before she shows back up.
By the way, Steve is like my least favorite character. Why is he such a dickhead?
Yeah, Steve sucks. He's
She, like,
well, I
goes
mean,
to get
he
the-
is gonna be the next Frank Miller. Frank Miller's kind of a douchebag, so
It's because
Wow.
he's a writer.
yeah. there you go.
Oh, you're right. That makes sense.
Josh and Georgia are like in the car. Josh says they need to find Cody because he just immediately believes the story, and so they have to head to the comic book shop. And then you get a scene of this random dude dressed up as an elf, sitting on this dock drinking with his fucking feet in the water, even though he's got elf shoes on.
This part, of the entire movie, this part bothered me the most because when I saw that guy sit down with his fucking elf, like fully closed feet in the water, I was like, oh my god, that's so gross.
He deserves to die.
Yes,
He does.
He had it coming. He's sitting there drinking, and you hear something like slam into the boat in front of him, and he's kind of like, what the fuck? And then it happens again, and Santa Jaws pushes the boat into his legs, cutting them off.
My question is, if you're gonna sit there and put your feet in the water, why do you do it right behind a boat?
What if you just
Listen.
weren't paying attention and like that boat turned on and just like chopped your feet all up?
There's just so many reasons not to put your feet in water, first of all.
Number one, don't go into the water ever, because
Yes. No.
everything in it is a nightmare.
Yes.
I'm gonna say, like, it's so good. This guy needed to die because, like, if he didn't, what, he was gonna get up and then, like, slosh around in his, like, mucky,
Wet socks
like,
and
lake
shoes.
shoes. Like, gross.
He's gonna go back to work at the mall, smell like a fucking dirty water.
Yeah,
Yes.
just booze and ocean.
Like Cody, Steve, and Jenna are kind of like walking along the dock and like talking about something, and then you just see this dude fucking hobbling around on his like half legs.
Why is he walking around on his bloody stumps? Like
It's
that,
so good.
that can't feel good. Just crawl. Just crawl.
The image of him doing it with the like blatant CGI and him just screaming
Oh my
is my
God.
favorite.
Could you imagine if that's like so?
If I saw that
happened
in
to
real
me,
life,
I would throw myself into the lake.
I
like,
would scream and push him into the water and run.
oh my god.
But he's just hobbling by and like screaming, and then Santa Jaws just eats his ass into the water.
And I think you can like, see some of the bone too, which makes it even more gross.
It's so
like,
good. It's
Ugh.
bad CGI, but like good bad CGI. It's
Yes.
like
yeah,
just
it was like
goofy
very
enough that you
alarming
love
too.
it.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
I have to say, did I already say this? Like, I felt like most of the scenes where you see the shark, except for the fin part, I don't think the actual fin is CGI. That looked real
no,
to
that's
me.
all like a
Not-
real thing.
Not like a real shark, obviously,
Yeah, it
but a
was.
prop. But like when they show the CGI of the shark, for the most part, I thought it looked pretty good compared to like other movies that I've seen. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty on par with like some of the
Like other sci-fi shark movies.
yeah, like it's pretty up. Like I feel like it holds up with like how like the shark in Bait 3D looked like, except for at the very beginning. Because that shark when it like pops that dude out of the water at the very beginning is one of the worst CGI sharks I've ever seen. Georgia and Josh are at the comic book shop asking where Cody's at, and Clark immediately starts hitting on Georgia. The Cody and Steve and Jenna come like running in, and Josh is just like, "Hey, little bro, I know this shark's real. Let's go fight it, I guess."
my whole thing is like, I know people like Georgia, and I don't know that I would think they're more credible than a child. Well, he's not a child. I mean, he is a child, but like, it's just because she's like, oh my god, this shark is like totally real. And then they're like, oh, okay.
She's a Snapstagram influencer.
convinced.
I would believe her.
I guess.
You know how many weight loss teas I have bought from Instagram just because I believe everything?
None.
A lot. I am massively in debt.
Instagram teas.
Stocked up on flat tummy tea.
Yeah.
I expect some in my stocking this year.
Well, we'll see. Don't get your hopes up. Cody gives like a rousing speech about how they have to go stop Santa Jaws. Steve says they aren't superheroes and have nothing to fight with, and Clark shows them his selection of obviously fake weapons.
John,
Whip
this scene
sense.
was so funny because they're like talking and he's just like slurping his eggnog like that wasn't eggnog, but he's just like slurping it for like a while, and then they're like, what? Like what? And he's just like standing by this cabinet of weapons for some reason.
I just love like not even like ironically, I thought it was pretty fucking funny how like blatantly fake some of the weapons look. Like they show like the mace at some point, and I was like, that's the weirdest fucking mace I've ever seen.
And I like that he wrote his name on the bottom of the
With, like,
weapons
duct tape.
with like duct tape. Yeah.
Clark.
All I'm saying is it stands to reason. If you own a comic book shop, you're also going to own a bunch of really shitty elven weaponry.
I mean, that's true. But my real question is, where was the long pike?
Yeah. Where's Jefferson at?
More halberds.
You cut to Peter and Carolyn showing up at Mike's boat, and they find Mike's hat, and like Peter's like trying to grab the hat as Santa Jaws jumps out of the water and like barely misses him, and then they're just like, WTF, this shit is real.
My favorite thing is that they're like, oh, they didn't finish decorating. He got fucking ate by a shark.
then,
Of
like,
course they didn't finish
I think
decorating.
one of them's just like, well, maybe he's just really lazy decorator. And back at the comic book store, Steve finds Cody's pen, And it's like, oh, what's this? And he just explains it. It was like a gift. And he's like, what's this language on it? And Clark's just like, oh, that's Elfish. And Jenna's like, no, dummy, it's German.
And she knows German, of course.
Yeah. And it translates to, he who holds this pin holds great power. With generosity and heart, it can only do good. Beware he who use it for selfish gains. So,
But I wonder what it says in Elvish.
don't lift weights for selfish reasons to get those gains. It's gonna be bad for you. Cody has like put together this pin, brought Santa Jaws to life, and they go back out to the boat docks. And as he does, he like drops the pin in the store. I hope these boat docks are like just like a block away from this fucking comic book store, because this is a lot of running around in one day. They are back and forth a lot.
Yeah.
They arrive back at the dock with their weapons, and they play Christmas music near the water to attract Santa Jaws. Cody is firing arrows out of a crossbow, which doesn't work. Jenna then tries and like hits it, but it doesn't really do anything to the shark. And then Josh throws a spear and misses, which Steve is like, what the fuck, bro? I thought you were like a pitcher. And he's like, yeah, this is not a fucking baseball.
You know, same diff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That still should.
Harpoon, baseball, you know.
Just cut to him playing baseball and like throws a fucking spear instead.
Throw that.
And so I'm gonna let Kit take this part. As if this is his favorite part.
I forgot
The
what
Christmas
happened.
lights.
Okay, so,
Oh,
yeah.
yes. So the Georgia's up on the dock. And
Sucking on a candy cane.
yes. And everyone's kind of looking for the shark and not paying attention to her, and you just see this whole like 10-foot long thing of Christmas lights shoot out of the water from like Santa Jaws' fin and wrap around her waist and drag her down to the depths where she is devoured.
Here's my question.
I do like.
wrote,
I like though that like as she's struggling, she stabs it in the eye with the candy cane, which pulls out its eyeball.
It's a good stab.
What were you saying, Katie?
I wrote, can we add her to Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Like, she's got like a whip. She's got everything.
Yeah. New Mortal
She
Kombat. Fuck
That's
this.
like a scorpion skin.
Fuck this nonsense with adding the Joker. Add Santa Jaws.
Yes.
Yeah.
Petition starting right now.
There's a quick back and forth between Steve and Josh about how they didn't save Georgia. Jenna points out that
Josh-
go ahead.
This is like the first time that they've met her also, because they were like, whenever Mike and her show up, he's like, oh, we would really liked if you'd been at the wedding or whatever. It leads me to believe they don't really know her, and Josh is like, no, Georgia, and I'm like, you don't even like, I know she's supposed to be like your new aunt that's probably like 2 years older than you, but like,
Maybe they
They're-
just text a lot. You don't know.
I guess because my only comment about this movie is that it kind of felt like whenever somebody died, the main characters that were like still alive kind of were just sort of like, oh no, like
They moved on very fast.
they did, right? Except for Josh when Georgia died. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, Cody's
He was one of her Snapstagram followers, right? Maybe
that's why.
Cody's pretty upset through most of it. The very end, it's like you could tell they're like trying to wrap up.
right.
But like, I mean, I feel like Cody's because like he's pretty upset when spoiler Steve gets taken later, and then Jenna and whatnot.
Damn.
Jenna points out that Georgia was able to like hurt the shark, and maybe Christmas stuff is the only thing that can hurt her. Steve is like, "Peace out, I'm getting the fuck out of here." And Cody's like, tells him that they're the only ones that can stop her because no one else will believe them, and like they are the only ones that know this shark because they created it. Steve and Josh split up with Cody and Jenna to go looking for Christmas weapons they can use, and Cody and Jenna are going to go look for decorations. You cut back to the parents who are back, like run back to the house to make sure the kids are all right, and they find Cody's note, and Peter runs into another room to grab a wild gun that I can't believe that person would own. And comes out and like cocks it and is just like, let's put this fish on ice. And then you get this fucking, maybe the one scene that I was just kind of like, come on, of just Steve and Josh arguing about like Steve's like, you're a jock and you're so mean to us nerds, and Josh is just like, well, you nerds just think we're just jocks, we're all stereotypes, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, just keep it moving.
Yeah. Don't do this right now.
But
and
they do find a
then
box
baseball puns.
of bar explosives.
Yeah.
Papa had a box full of explosives specifically for boars.
Good work.
He was on top of it.
He's really trying to keep the boar population in
That's
check, and we appreciate
Just
that.
ready for anything that's going to happen. Jenna and Cody are talking about just like where she's from, why she moved there, and a bunch of backstory with her. When Josh and Steve come up with this box of explosives, and they're just like, hey, like we found this, and Jenna and Cody were like, cool, we found all these like Christmas tree ornaments we could load it with. So now their plan is to put explosives into these tree ornaments, which is a pretty good plan. Except I don't think those ornaments open. I don't know too many Christmas tree ornaments that do.
Well, you can always take the top off.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
little.
Like the
Well,
you're talking
dangler
about
thing.
you're talking about the bulbs, right?
Oh,
The very
yeah, I
top,
guess that's
the silver
true.
part pulls
I
up.
was thinking of them as being like just like it would just like pop off in the middle, like a fucking quarter machine thing.
like a gachapon.
Yeah. I do like this part of they chum the water with fish and sugar cookies.
Yeah. I wrote, this is like a sentence. Cody drops Xmas chum, and they have Xmisified weapons that hurt her.
Xmisified. So Santa Jaws like shows up, and Cody fires a candy cane arrow that goes straight through the fin, and then Jenna throws a spear that's covered in Christmas lights, which is a direct hit and gets stuck in Santa Jaws. And then Josh throws an explosive ornament. Steve goes to throw his and drops it and saves it right before it hits the water. And as he's like leaning over the water, Santa Jaws just grabs the shit out of him and eats him.
R.I.P.
So there goes Steve.
Damn. Dropping like flies.
I will say, like, one of the best parts of this movie is that pretty much everybody dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did have, like, in the very beginning when Papa dies, I did have a little bit of a suspicion of how it was going to end, but I do like that they did, like, do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you kind of, if you've seen any sort of schmaltzy, like,
Film.
yeah, Christmassy type movie, that you kind of can see where it's going to head, but, Cody's parents go to talk to Clark, where he's just being a douchebag, and Carolyn threatens to shoot him, which made me laugh. You have a scene with like Jenna comforting Cody about Steve, while Josh is like doing something behind this like car he's sitting in, and then they kind of realize, well, if the pen created Santa Jaws, why can't they use it to like fight her? So Cody's just like, Josh, give me my backpack, instead of just getting it himself.
Yeah, that was weird.
He realizes that the pen is gone, so they call Clark, who doesn't answer the phone because he just finds the pen on the ground as it's ringing, and he's just like, oh shit, I'm rich. So they head to the comic book store, where Clark now has a Russian girlfriend named Svetlana that can't talk. which he delivers a pretty fucking stupid but funny line later about. He also has a brand new car, and Clark tells him that he doesn't have the pin, and that, like, he's just like, well, I don't have the pin, and they're just like, come on, dude. He's like, okay, well, I'll go get it.
Yeah, right.
Just like goes in the back, and they're just like trying to talk to Svetlana, and she's just can't talk. So, and then like as they're sitting there, just like, what the fuck's going on? You hear his car out front start, and he takes off, and they go to like give chase, and find out that he took the keys out of their car. So now they have to like ride bikes to follow him. Which
pretty smart.
They are
Diabolical.
they are extremely fast bike riders because they're keeping up with this dude riding on empty roads in this car.
Well, I love this because like when he pulls into the marina and they're right behind him, he's like, I should have driven a faster car. Like, all right. Yes, you should have.
You get like a quick scene too of the parents like at the dock where they find all of the weapons that have like Clark's name on the duct tape on them. And then another one of my favorite scenes where they're standing on the dock and you hear like they're like you see something come swimming towards them, and Carolyn starts shooting wildly at it. As it gets close enough, and like they shoot it and shoots it right in the head, and it pops out to be the fakest alligator like I've ever seen it. I love it so much.
I love how they just thought it was over. He's just like, yeah, babe, you got it. And it's just like, blop.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, Clark and the kids arrive at the dock, giving chase, and Clark jumps into this boat and starts kind of like pushing away from the dock as they're like arguing, and Clark's just like talking about all the possibilities that could be with this pin. He says something, he's like, I could have drawn Svetlana to speak English, but who needs that kind of pressure?
Yeah. the saddest line.
Oh, it's so good. It's just like the most fitting thing. Like, of course this character would say that.
Yes.
But he's like pushing the boat back while holding the pin like over the water, threatening to drop it. And as he's starting to like get just far enough away from the dock, Jenna's like, fuck this, and goes running towards him and just jumps at him, knocking him into the water, and they're both kind of underwater for a couple seconds, and Cody's just like, what the fuck, where's Jenna? And they both pop up. She has the pin as Santa Jaws emerges. And
what a horrible plan.
I mean,
yeah, I don't
she's
the chances of him just like dropping it and them never getting it again. I was like,
yes, not worth it.
Yeah.
You had a better shot, like just trying to ride the bike onto the water and catching him that way.
I mean, look, day one, I would have just left town. So they're already doing more than I would have done.
Let's just stay out of the water.
Like, number one, I'm not going near the water to begin with, so.
Yeah.
The only thing that sort of like confused me about this part is that Santa Jaws came, but there was like no Christmas stuff. Is it just because of the pen, or like?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't think about that.
That was
maybe
my
it was
only...
just the Christmas spirit of Jenna being like, I gotta save everybody. She's just John McClane this shit. So yeah, she like has the pin and throws it back to Cody, who catches it, and then Clark is just eaten by Santa Jaws. R.I.P. the only character that does not come back.
Yeah, because who the fuck cares about him?
Hopefully Cody just draws himself as the owner of the comic book store. Jenna goes like swimming back and gets like to the dock, and as she's getting ready to climb out, Santa Jaws eats the shit out of her. So she's now gone.
Bye.
I think at this point it's literally just the family members left, like the parents and the two kids.
Yeah.
This is when the mom calls 911 and it's like, my son's comic book shark came to life, and they're just like, cool.
Never call again.
Quit eating those mushrooms. And then Cody and Josh come like, are sitting on the dock, and they're just like, well, why don't we? This is the best scene of the movie for me. So they're like, well, like if we just draw, like maybe we can stop her. Like, what if we like just take away her teeth? So Cody blacks out her teeth, and you see Santa Jaws like swimming along with no teeth, and she knocks into a dock that knocks a bunch of the Christmas tree ornaments into the water, and she chomps on them. So now her teeth are the shards of Christmas tree ornaments. Which is fucking so genius.
So much.
And Josh is just like, all right, so what if we just like impale her? So Cody draws a candy cane impaling her, which like just appears in thin air and just shoots into the water and just smashes into the shark's head. And now they're just like, oh, now she's got a horn. So
I
now
love it.
Santa Jaws has been turned into Uber Santa Jaws.
A unicandy corn.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a fucking Santa Jaws tattoo. I need it.
I don't blame you.
So the kids arrive at the restaurant and like sort of make up with the parents, except Cody, who's just extremely angry about, like, they still don't believe, which I don't know why they would, this story that like he brought it to life with a wish and drawing on this fucking shark. And I just like that his dad's like, well, no, it's global warming. You see, like, all these sharks,
God.
these warm water sharks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy shit. And Cody just goes fucking ballistic and just, like, storms out.
Yeah, this is like one of the parts that I think also, I don't want to say redeemed the movie because it's already good, but made the movie even better. Is like, first of all, like anytime you have this kind of situation where something crazy's happened and the kid's like, crazy thing, and the parents are like, you're fucking stupid. The mom apologizes. She's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you. The dad, says it's global warming, which like, who's dad? I mean, come on. Dads like that kind of thing. But Cody like freaks the fuck out on them and is like screaming at the top of his lungs like, you people are stupid, this thing is happening, blah 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 blah. And like I feel like that's missing from a lot of these kinds of movies where like everyone just sort of like has not no emotion, but like if this was happening and people did not believe me, I would freak out too. So like the authenticity of like the script here, I think like really like made this movie like even
Right.
better to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. It doesn't make sense in like 10 minutes when everyone else gets eaten and Cody's just like, wow,
What?
fuck.
Yeah. Bummer.
So Peter comes out and is like trying to comfort Cody, and like there's having like a heartfelt moment, and then inside Carolyn is looking through the comic and like agrees to help after seeing an image of what I guess is supposed to be the family of superheroes. And so their plan is to fill turkeys that they were going to use for this like Christmas dinner with explosives, and then build a catapult, which I feel like
Extremely normal.
they've already had. They've already had to have had an extremely long day. I don't know what time this is, but building a catapult seems like it would take a while.
Not with Master Physicist Dad.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked about this part is like it's sort of like I wrote family. I said montage of weapon stuff. Family does schematics, but there's like this music playing in the background that's like very reminiscent of Home Alone, and it's like not like whenever Kevin decides that he's gonna like put together these like things that would definitely kill
I
a
could
person.
almost guarantee that was like intentional.
Oh, I'm sure, but I think like it's not the Home Alone song, but they did a really good job of like kind of like playing
Yeah.
a homage to it, basically.
The music in general in this movie that does a really good job of like capturing the spirit of those like 90s Christmas movies, like family oriented Christmas movies.
Yeah, I agree. I like this ending that is essentially just Jaws but with turkeys.
Yes. Which is the best sentence I've ever heard. I realize now.
Because now you're imagining turkeys in the water.
Yes.
Smile, you son of a bitch! And he just throws an exploding turkey at him.
So they Cody turns on Christmas music to draw the shark in, and they start launching turkeys into the water, which they only have 3. And the first one, like, they miss. So I don't understand how they're missing, because I feel like if I was a shark and like a turkey laying in the water, I would at least be like, what was that? But like, at least go fucking like investigate, because if it's food, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah, I kind of expected her to eat it too, but I think she's like, well, they made a point of saying that she's intelligent, so she probably knows some fucked up's happening.
Essentially, they launch like 2 of the 3, which do nothing. And then they go to launch the third one, which just flops off the catapult and lands on this little like walkway next to the water. And Josh runs down to grab it, and like goes to throws it like directly at the shark, and just gets impaled on the fucking candy cane
horn. Oh my god, it's so good.
When I was looking up stuff about this, I looked at the hashtag Santa Jaws on Instagram. And one of the actors, I think it might be the guy who played Josh, I'm not sure, I have to look again, but posted behind the scenes footage of that shot, and it's just a dude in a green screen suit in the water that just like just kind of like pokes up at Josh, and he's just like, ugh! It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny seeing like how they shot it with just no shark.
I need to see it.
So Josh gets impaled and dragged in the water, and Peter freaks out and goes running and jumps into the water after him.
Like, come on, man.
I mean, again, at least there's some fucking emotion happening.
Well, true.
And so he's like in the water, and he's trying to find Josh, and then he just realizes what a mistake he made as he gets fucking gobbled up by a fucking Santa Jaws. Which actually is like another one where like he's getting out of the water and Santa Jaws basically swallows him whole. Another fucking awesome shot. Santa Jaws finally goes to like grab this third turkey that's just floating in the water, and Cody shoots the turkey as it does, and Santa Jaws has the telltale black mark of an explosive like near her mouth and sinks to the bottom of the water, like the
as Ave Maria is playing in the background, and she's just drifting into the darkness.
Cody and Carolyn are just like get like knocked back from the explosion and like just get up, and they're just kind of like, I'm sad. This was not a good day.
Everyone's dead except us.
This is the one point where I'm just like, they're both just kind of like, oh, this was a bummer. Hopefully tomorrow's better.
Not the worst day, but not the best.
Cody realizes that he can bring them all back with the pin, and the mom's just like, quit this nonsense, and like they fight over the pin, which she like knocks out of his hand and drops down onto this walkway near the water. And Cody's like, what the fuck? That was Papa's last gift to me.
Papa's pin.
She's like, I'm sorry, and she runs down there to grab it as Santa Jaws pops back up out of the water and starts chomping down on her. Which is
I gotta say,
she takes a fucking
her
damage.
death is like, she does. Everyone else, I feel like it's taken right away, except for the elf man. But she's just like there for forever, just getting chomped on and like screaming.
She like Santa Jaws has her like halfway in his mouth on this little like dock, and is just chomping down on her back like a bunch. And like Cody draws in the comic that like whoever kills her gets their Christmas wish back, and then uses Mike's lighter to burn the comic, which kills Santa Jaws. There's like another explosion as Santa Jaws like disappears, and Cody's knocked back, and Cody
says,
"Oh, good.
Ho ho ho, you son of a fish!"
I fucking didn't catch
God,
that.
When he like sets it on fire, he says that.
Yeah, he like
using Mike's lighter.
He just immediately after the explosion wakes up in his bed. So it seems like it was all a dream, but I don't know. The whole family is now there, like hanging out for Christmas and giving each other gifts.
Which I gotta say, like, I know he's grounded, but it's really fucking rude that they're all like awake and like wearing pajamas and like exchanging presents, and he's just like asleep, and they're like, "Oh, there he is!" Like, you weren't gonna wake him up? That's mean. It's Christmas.
Like, so
Just let him sleep through it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
So none of them remember like anything that happened. Cody was gonna join them, and then he's like, "Oh, I gotta go take care of something first," and runs across the street to bother Jenna on Christmas Day, or like Christmas morning, especially to give her a comic book and to get his back.
I really like that when he woke up, his iPhone like said the time, and then underneath, instead of the date, it said Christmas Day. I was like, my phone doesn't say that. In case you were wondering.
She gives him the Santa Jaws comic back, and Cody asks her out on a date to an ice cream shop because it's the 50s. She says, "That comic, it's pretty killer," and he's like, "You have no idea." And she's immediately like, "I can't wait to make out with this kid." And just you get a scene where Cody burns the comic, and then he just like looks at the pen, and you think he's gonna throw it in this fire, and he just smirks and walks off. So if we don't get a goddamn sequel, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah. When are they gonna come out with Krampus Jaws?
Just the elf jaws. It's just the
Oh,
the
God.
shark, but it's got like
Oh, God.
elf ears and ships through doors.
I listened to that episode earlier, and I was like at the store whenever you accidentally like mispronounced whatever you said, and I was just like, he was just shitting on the shelf, and I started laughing so hard.
Yeah, watch this movie. It's fucking, it's like one of the most fun times I've had watching a movie in a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Insane.
Does anybody see like any news?
I think I did. Let me see. Oh, mine's not news that most people will care about. First of all, Once Bitten is streaming on Prime for free again now. That's the one
Jim
where
Carrey
with
movie.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, I freaking love that movie, and it wasn't free. It wasn't like on anything for like actually Halloween or whatever. So it's on there now. If people haven't seen it, I recommend it. It's a vampire movie, obviously. And then I just saw that they are doing another like Ted Bundy documentary, but this one's a little bit different because it's focusing on, I don't know, I feel like a lot of these like documentaries, and this is like a pretty common complaint where they kind of like glorify like the killer and like talk about whatever. But this one's like the opposite because it's his longtime girlfriend and her daughter, and like a bunch of the survivors are talking about it. So it's sort of more focused on like them, and like the victims, which it definitely should be. But it's called Falling for a Killer, and it's going to be on Prime in January. And I just watched, there's a trailer available I saw it on Bloody Disgusting. So if anyone wants to watch that, it looks like it's going to be really good. So
Hard pass.
I know, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm really interested in it.
Nathan, I've got one that will interest you.
All right.
Glenn Danzig is going to be
yes.
directing a vampire spaghetti western starring Devon Sawa.
He's done shooting it. I believe
Oh,
it's
it's
all
done?
like it's done. He's like, I
Oh
think he
my
finished
God.
shooting it like this week.
I had not heard about this at all, and then Devon Sawa on Twitter like posted about it, and I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever read. I'm so excited.
I need the Veronica movie to come to fucking streaming immediately. Because
Yeah.
we are watching it.
Yes.
What?
Do you guys have any shout outs this week?
Silence.
Watch Santa Jaws.
I'm gonna say watch Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Um,
Honestly, I'm gonna jump on that, and I'm gonna say like, just look up pictures of young Jim Varney.
oh god, God, what, you want everybody to get boners?
Ew.
I'm gonna keep the horny for
Oh,
Jim Varney train going.
Jim Horny was hot as shit.
Jim
I-
Horny.
I
that what I
saw this
said?
post. Yeah, you did say Jim
Freudian
Moore.
slip.
I saw this post that was basically like John Cena is turning into Ernest, and I was
Yes.
like, when
Yeah.
are they gonna? They should do like a buddy movie where he like goes into the past or something, and like I don't know, someone take that and roll with it.
There's a podcast I listened to that is called The Importance of Seeing Ernest that like just went through like I think they only did like 15 episodes because it was just they just went through each thing that was like an Ernest specific movie or whatever. And I think they went on like a thing where they were talking at one point like if they were going to reboot it, like who would you do? And it was just like I don't like even they like it's like who do you even come up with? Like sure, like John Cena looks like Ernest, but like it's just you can't. I can't even think of somebody that could like pull that character off. That's like not Jim Varney.
I don't
Nick
know.
Cage. There you go.
No.
Problem solved.
All right. So next week we are doing a Q&A episode because we're not trying to record shit in between fucking the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's.
Too busy.
So leave us a rating or review on iTunes. Say,
Please, it's our Christmas wish.
yeah, tell us how much you love Santa Jaws.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Twitter at I Hope You Suffer and Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Go listen to Kit's other podcast, Riff Raff, about stuff.
True.
Not a lie.
About metal and a lot of other stuff usually. What you guys been doing lately? I've like 8 episodes behind because of my fucking iPod.
We've been kind of recapping like favorite songs of the year.
Oh, gotcha.
Like we've had some guests on just talking about their favorite songs. Not mine and Pat's because we've played all of ours on the show already.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make you guys listen to the same 5 bands I've been talking about all
So
year.
here's a week where we
Blood
just played the entire
Incantation.
Blood Incantation album, and
Might as well. I've been pushing for
all
it.
of Twofold.
To be fair, most of the other like music pictures that you post on Instagram and stuff, I can't read the title, so all I know is Blood Incantation.
Go follow Katie's Instagram at Werewolf Face, where she's doing things and stuff.
I am.
And then you listen to my other podcast, Let Me Be Your Pot of Love, where we talk about things and stuff.
Also true.
Yes. All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
Meat shake.
Santa Jaws.
Santa Jaws is coming.
Jaws
is
is
coming to
to
town.
town.